All right, I'm going to have a go at the Guardian's Cryptic Crossword for Friday, December 20th. Set today by Picaroon. Is it my imagination, or is Picaroon the hardest working man in crosswords? We seem to see him a lot. All right, let's see what Picaroon has for us. In need of a trim suit, hero wants nothing fancy. Well, I'm thinking we might say or break it at in need of a trim. So hairy or her suit. So suit hero. Wanting nothing means we take away the O, I think, and then fancy is telling us to anagram that for her suit. All right, Guy Burgess finally cracks. I'm thinking the definition is guy as in, I was thinking a chap or a man, but I think to guy somebody can also be to make fun of them in a friendly manner, I think. So Burgess finally might be an S, which goes well before the H. And then, yeah, a word for cracks beginning with H, and then the whole thing is going to mean guy. Oh no, I don't see it. How about more ironic, entertaining time, correspondent, say? I think we're going to get a word for more ironic and put it around T for time, and it's going to get correspondent. Dryer might be more ironic. Ryer. Well, I can see if we spell Ryer with an I, we would get writer. So I think that must be the answer. I think I would have spelled Ryer with a Y. And I probably would have been wrong. Yeah, so we'll check that later on. E.g. sentence with funny remark to some extent on cover of Melville books. I'm thinking e.g. sentence is the definition. Now, is that a prison sentence or a grammatical sentence? I'm just thinking the cover of Melville is M.E., and then books is often Old Testament or New Testament. I'm thinking if it's New Testament, we have a nice M-E-N-T ending. So a sentence. And so then we're going to have a funny remark. To some extent, I'm thinking is we don't finish the word for a funny remark. Yeah, I don't see that. E.g. sentence. No. Oh, what two might produce the 19 down. So I think two might be two down. Oh yeah, 19, there's both an across and a down, so they have to specify. Yeah, so the what? Oh, maybe it's an anagram of writer. Well, it'll probably make more sense when we get 19 down. All right, back to the crosses. Tucking into a round, a lot of miserable sherry. Oh, I think it might be a sherry, because I'm wondering if tucking into a round means we put within A and O a word for a lot, or sorry, no, most of the word for miserable. I don't know my sherries. My father was a great sherry man. But I do think there could be some Spanish name for a sherry beginning with A and ending in O. It seems plausible. How about fan of country group getting into light rap? Oh, again, I'm wondering if it's a fan of country. We have to break it there, and it's nothing to do with country music. I'm thinking patriot. I can see a light rap would be a pat, or a tap if you read it backwards, but I think pat. Ah, but then riot is group. I wouldn't have thought riot and group were synonymous. Although well, poetically you can say there was a riot of color, riot of flowers. I'll leave it in. All right, so now our guy Burgess finally. I think I completely read that wrong because I'm thinking the guy is a chap. Burgess finally is the S, goes at the end, of course, to agree with the sense of the final definition cracks. So, like your lips can crack, they chap. All right. Well, yeah, if patriot is right. Funny remark. Oh, how? Oh, yeah. I was just thinking of a pun, and then I was thinking, well, what's going to be the next? But I think it might be pun-ish. It's like a pun to some extent. It's punish, and a sentence would be a punishment, of course. All right. Ooh, good writer is better. So I think we're maybe going to start with a G for good, and then a six-letter writer. And is it going to be better as in more good, or is it going to be better as in somebody who bets? Oh, yeah, I just thought of the word gambler, and there is the writer Eric Ambler. All right, sites devoted to cultivation and love. Wagner and Strauss won't have one. Wow. Funny. Yeah, something R or something H. Oak Arch, maybe? Sites devoted to cultivation. I immediately think gardens or beds. And then love might be a final O. But why Wagner and Strauss won't have one? No, don't see that. All right. Saw 14 Downs agreement with one of the Kennedys. Well, I just, a little side question. Since this is 14 across, could Picaroon have simply said saw 14's agreement with one of the Kennedys? Anyway, that doesn't help me. Agreement with one of the Kennedys. No. Well, I'm thinking maybe it is going to be one of the Kennedys. Oh, could it be the violinist Nigel? Of course, I immediately think of JFK and family. Anyway, let's move on. Wrong and Twisted Heart of America. Twisted Heart, I would have thought was an anagram of heart, although I can't think of one. But having the wrong and the of America either side of it, yeah, I don't think that's it. Piece of fiction with classical air that's out of date. Well, date can be represented by D, so I wonder if it's a classical air, and with four letters, and we remove the D to get a piece of fiction. But I don't know what a classical air would be. No. How Miles ends kind of blue is appropriate. I'm wondering if how miles ends is merely giving us an S, and then we put in a shade of blue, and it's going to mean, oh, either appropriate or appropriate, like seize. But I don't see how EIZE is a kind of blue. What is a shade of blue? Navy. Um, no. No, I should be able to get that, but I can't. All right. Glee as gutted Starmer gets hammered for extravagant gifts. That's a good clue. I don't know if there's a reference to something going on in the news about Starmer and extravagant gifts, but oh, I think he did receive, like, was it tickets from the FA? Um, yeah, so I think Glee as is 6 letters, and then the gutted Starmer gives us an S and an R, and I think that gets hammered or anagrammed for extravagant gifts. Let's try the anagram helper, Glee as SR. All right. Oh, large S, of course. Yeah. There we go. All right. Yes, there's a lot of cross-referencing going on today. I didn't notice that at first. 2, the writer marks his work, perhaps. That's good. I presume it's going to be a writer, and maybe punningly it sounds like marks his work, perhaps. No, not thinking of one. European stopping dissolute man's activity in the 12. Well, is that a reference to 12 across? The gambler. European stopping, I think that just simply means we're going to put E inside of. Could it be? No. I was thinking dissolute anagram. Maybe a dissolute man's activity. Oh, yeah, I can't think of a word for that, but there are words. All right, how about broke donut for Spanish nurses? I think it's going to mean broke. It does. So simply poor. So the word for or the Spanish word for poor, nurses are goes around a donut, and anything round with a hole in it can be an O. Well, that confirms the tucking into a round. Oh, yeah, I should be better versed on my sherries. 2, and broadcaster supporting party over free votes. So maybe it is another writer. Broadcaster, the Beeb, supporting party. It might be C for conservative, L for labor. Over free votes. Oh, maybe an anagram of votes. So then it could be something like OSTEV. Oh, yeah, I'm thinking Dostoevsky. Oh, Sky is the, yeah, is the broadcaster now. Can I spell Dostoevsky? I'd say so. The party is the do. I think an over is going to be an O. And then I think it's OEVSKY. Let me pause and check that. Oh, I might also have a sneaky look at Sherry's. All right, I did spell Dostoevsky correctly. Yeah, so I think where I confused myself was I thought that O was going to be part of votes, which actually helped me. But it's that O, of course. So it's the party, the anagram of votes, and then our Sky broadcaster. Looked up Sherry. I didn't see one beginning with A. There was one Oloroso, but no, so we have to get some more letters for that. But ooh, some lovely crossers coming up. All right, point about end of novel, the 21. Oh, well, we don't have 21 yet. All right, let's go back to the acrosses. Silly opening of 4. Oh, I don't have 4 yet. Oh, which also references the 19 down. Oh, dear. It's a game of dominoes here. Silly opening of 4, addressing dictator from the east. Well, from the east, yeah, it means we're reading something backwards for an across clue. So I'm thinking it might end in OT. So it's addressing dictator would be 2. So silly opening of 4. Yeah, I would have thought silly might be an anagram indicator, but I think it might be the definition. But who's the Oh, dictator, of course, I think can be a homophone indicator, but I don't think you'd have a homophone and a reversal together. I don't know why I say that, but it seems a bridge too far for me. I can only think for a 3-letter dictator, Pol Pot, but no, doesn't make sense to me. How about Latin neologism goes around 2 continents? How can something be in Latin and be a neologism? And then 2 continents. Well, Asia maybe is going to come into it because that's the shorter one. Unless we have abbreviations, EU maybe, and AM. Anyway. Or could neologism be a anagram indicator, a new version of Latin? And that goes around 2, and then it gives us continents? No. Loaded, investor hasn't finished acquiring dodgy firm. All right, I think it's going to be a word for loaded. Is that going to be rich or drunk? Or just something that has a big load on it? Investor, so some word for investor without its final letter. And that's going to maybe take an anagram of firm or CO for company, and then maybe it becomes OC. No. Fur coats are very possibly delivered. Oh, possibly can be an anagram indicator. And I wonder if excuse me, fur coats are very, well, maybe ARE plus V, and we anagram that, and we put FUR around it, and it means delivered. We do have a V for very, but I don't see how my fur, no. All right, fixed water dispenser aboard vehicle. No idea how to decipher that. Briefly cook something hot or something sweet. I have a feeling we had a clue similar to this before. I think it's the dessert baklava or baklava, I think is how you stress it. Anyway, to cook is to bake, but briefly is just bak, and something hot is lava. All right. Saccharin, occasionally cut as energy drink ingredient. So I presume we're going to take every other letter from saccharin. ACAI, yes. Acai berry. Deposing leader, note one state is hostile. I presume it's going to mean hostile, but yeah, don't see that. Bar boss with a pair of kids around New Year. Yeah, something to do with bar, maybe. I'm thinking a pair of kids is going to be two abbreviations or short words for kids that are going to go around NY for New Year. Could it be a bar boss, as in the head of the legal profession, or just the barman or the landlord? Landlord, maybe. But I don't see where the year would come into it. Oh, we do have a lad around New Land. And then Lord, landlady. Ah, of course. I am being very sexist. I didn't think of a landlady. There we go. So two lads, and one goes around the N for new. Um, yeah. So yeah, the two lads go around N, and then year comes at the end, the Y. All right. Ooh, sorry, I dropped my stylus. All right. Where was I? Fancied both men and women eating a condiment. So I'm thinking by is going to come into it, and we do have B, although it does seem that is going to go around A, maybe eating A, and then that's going to make a condiment. What's a condiment with a B towards the end? Yeah, I don't see that. All right. Oh, and I somehow lost my keyboard. It's all going pear-shaped. This person dons large undies. They're delivered in autumn. All right. Uh, so I think this person is me, and that is going to don or go inside of probably L for large and then something for undies. And they're delivered in autumn. I don't know what's delivered in autumn. All right, oh my goodness. Two with article on line. Well, line is L and article can be A, N, or the. I'm thinking AL makes a nice ending. So a three-letter writer plus AL is going to give a word that deals with 17 and 3. We don't have 17. Oh, crime and pun. So Dostoevsky is giving us a theme here. So dealing with crime, so legal, I suppose. Oh no, penal. A writer, of course, I should know for many crosswords, can be a pen. Plus the A, plus the L is penal. So now we know, I think, what's 17. A wrong Yeah, I think a wrong is a crime. And twisted. Ah, yeah, so the heart of America are the five letters in the middle, and you anagram them. All right. Ah, piece of fiction, of course, must be a lie. Ah, so I think, yes, a song in German is a Lied, Lied, and then out of the D date, we get our lie. All right, so that does begin with an S, and then yeah, I think I may have to look up synonyms of appropriate. Ooh. Latin neologism. I'm wondering about New Roman. That's a typeface, but could that be it? But how would it go around two continents? No, 24 down would begin with an A. This person. I'm assuming this person is me, but I suppose, well, it could be an I, of course. Yeah, maybe I is more likely because we have to fit in a lot more. We have to get in our L for large and then our undies for something delivered in autumn. No. All right, how about like 827 in book fair, initially ignored. All right, 8 and 27, poor, and we don't have 27 yet. 8, like poor. Oh, I'm wondering if there's a character like poor something. All right, let's people left overwhelmed by two different fines. All right, fine can be abbreviated to F. Um, so I'm just wondering if we have left overwhelmed by, so L for left. Well, maybe one of the fines is F, and then maybe one of the others is, oh, fine could be okay. Yeah, I think it might be a word for people, which could be a specific people like the Finns or, uh, no. All right, very tricky one, but I'm really enjoying it. Um, I will, as I reread the clues we've looked at before, see if there's anything Dostoevskian involved. Not that I know. Yes, I have a lot of holes in my literature knowledge, as we saw yesterday. So, sites. Oh, yeah. Did I notice the first time around that was plural? I think I may have misread it. Cultivation and love. And Wagner and Strauss won't have one. Maybe they have more than one. Yeah, I always wonder if it's something to do with the name or the way it's written out. Oh, they're both Richards, right? Richard Strauss, Richard Wagner. But I don't think that helps me. So it could be like pre something, but I think more likely ARCH, ORCH, something orchestral. sites, archaeology, nurseries of some kind. Yeah, I don't see it. All right, so well, at least we've identified 19 down. The landlady, what two might produce, writer might produce. Oh, a writer might produce a letter, and another sense of landlady, they might let out a room. All right, ooh, so now, yeah, there can't be too many words that fit in here. I'm going to pause and run through the alphabet, try and think of A, E, etc. Well, I actually focused on putting a letter in between the R and the H, and when I put in the C and ran through the vowels at the beginning and got to O, I had a lot of the pieces. So love is O, and it is the fact that Wagner and Strauss are both Ricards, but without the one or I, it just becomes RCH, etc. And so sites devoted to cultivation are orchards. There we go. All right, so Dostoevsky's agreement with one of the Kennedys. Of course, there's Ludovic Kennedy. Who remembers old Ludo? I wonder if maybe the definition is saw. Ah, yeah, because Dostoevsky's agreement would be in Russian da. And then one of the Kennedys, I think, is going to be three letters. Now, a saw can be an old proverb, but it might simply be saw as in observed. Who is the Kennedy? John, Carolyn, Jackie O, the good RFK, Bobby, of course. Well, he was RFK. What other Joe? He was a bit of a rascal. I suppose they were all rascals in their way. I'm not. I'm not seeing a word for saw. Oh, it could be saw as in a tool, of course. No. How about, oh yeah, still nothing new on that. And my fur coats are very possibly delivered. Yeah, not seeing that one either. Oh, R21. Ah, yes, I think didn't Dostoevsky have the idiot? Um, yes, and the dictator is Idi Amin, so it is to Idi from the east. Now, why silly opening of Dostoevsky? Oh no, hold on. Sorry, 14 is Dostoevsky. What's 4? Letter. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not. I'm confused by that. Opening of. Maybe silly is the definition, and just the fact that it is Dostoevsky's book too is just playing into the theme, but not directly related. And so I think it's the opening of a letter addressing Idi Amin backwards. Okay. Now I get it. So I probably should have looked up what else Dostoevsky wrote. Wasn't there one about brothers? Anyway. Oh, this is one I didn't give much time to at all. Deposing leader, note, one state is hostile. It could be deposing, but I think deposing leader is we're going to remove the first letter from a word for note. And then one state, I wonder if that I is going to be the one, and then we have a 5-letter state, and it's going to mean hostile, inimical, I don't know, oh, maybe. Yeah, let me pause and look up. I don't know what the note would be, though, deposing a leader. As I paused, I was thinking, oh, maybe it's INIM is the note, and it is a minim, I think is a very short note. +1 plus the state of California, and if you're inimical, you are hostile. All right, this was our loaded. Investor hasn't finished. Acquiring dodgy. Firm. No. Fixed water dispenser aboard vehicle. Yeah, I didn't give much thought to this one either. I'm thinking the wordplay might be a water dispenser inside of a vehicle, and the vehicle would end in D. And what is a water? Oh, a water dispenser. It could be a tap. Could we have a tap inside of something? Probably going to begin with S, and it's going to mean fixed. Yes, stapled. And the sled is the very seasonal vehicle. All right, here are the people left. So at least we know where the L for left is. Overwhelmed by 2 different fines. Yeah, so it is F is one of the fines, and the other one is okay. So again, I had the little parts of it, but just couldn't put it together quickly enough. All right, so maybe loaded as in rich, but I'm thinking now skinful. But I don't think that means loaded. I think you have to say I had a skinful. But anyway, how would that even be? The investor hasn't finished acquiring dodgy firm. Yeah, I don't think that's right. All right, how about our poor, like poor folk in book fair, initially ignored. Yeah, I think maybe it is poor folk in book. Might be the definition, and then we have to think of a word for fair and remove its first letter. Yeah, I don't see that. Now, which kind of fair would it be? Fair as in light colored, fair as in just, fair as in a festival. Like poor folk in book. I don't know what poor folk, Steinbeck, the Okies, Dust Bowl. No. If 26 across was skinful, S something. No, I don't think that's right. All right. Oh, we don't have any letters for this, but it is the idiot. Point about end of novel. So point, I think, will be a point of the compass. About might be circa, ca, or re, and then end of novel and l. And it's going to give us maybe a word for another word for an idiot. No, not seeing that. Oh, well, actually, ooh, maybe it's a three-letter point of the. Oh, of course. Oh, a point could be a dot, and if that goes about the last letter of novel, you get a dolt. All right. So maybe. Yeah, David comes to mind, but is there a David Kennedy? Who is David Kennedy? It's da and a vid, which doesn't seem likely. Where does the saw come into it? Oh, I forgot, of course, about probably the most infamous Kennedy, Ted. And if you saw somebody, or as my parents used to say, you did a line with them, you dated them, all right. Of course, that has a different meaning nowadays. All right, here's our European stopping dissolute man's activity in the gambler. I'm wondering if an activity in the gambler might be roulette. And I'm thinking a dissolute man might be a roue. Is that how you pronounce it? Roue. Ah, yeah, the European is a let. Yeah, someone from Latvia, right? Okay. Oh, this sherry is, I'm sure there is, maybe it's a brand of sherry, and that's why Wikipedia didn't show it, but I'm sure, yeah, there is some. Just not getting it. All right. Okay, how Miles ends kind of blue. It is appropriate, as in take for your own would be to steal. Ooh, did you hear my neck? That was, yeah, unpleasant. All right, so teal is the shade of blue. Let's see. New World? Yes, a neologism is a new word, and Latin is L, so it's L with a new word going around it. And that gives two continents. Is that because North America and South America are considered two continents? Not 100% sure on that, so we'll make a note to check it. Ooh, get a nice W. Ah, I'm thinking of wasabi. So if you fancied both men and women in the past, you might say he was by, and that's eating a to give us our wasabi. That's clever. Still don't really have anything new for my large undies. Although we do have the L confirming. Yeah, so I think the I would probably be here. And then we need. Ah, undies could be bras. And I presume Libras are born in the autumn. I do not know my signs of the zodiac, I'm happy to say. All right, fur coats are very possibly delivered. I'm thinking, yeah, it's one of these ones where they have a form of a word that you may not have heard before, but you can get it. And so I'm thinking if something can be delivered, it is savable. And the fur is a sable. And that coats very. Yeah, I'm not sure where the other A is coming from. VA or AV with the sable coating it. Now maybe R very. Can you abbreviate R to A? That's new one on me. All right, how are we doing? Top left, bottom right, looking good. Just two in the top right. Let's try and finish these. All right, writer marks his work perhaps. I still think it's the name of a writer, but I'm thinking of an exam where you mark work. No, and then, yeah, I think there might be like an amoroso, but maybe I'm thinking of that amoroso I saw earlier, but let me look that up. Well, as I was typing it in to see if there was such a thing, I realized, of course, we have the word morose, or a lot of it, in the middle. Now, the main results I got back were that it was the word for sweet or tender or your loved one, your amoroso. But I think it is maybe a brand name or some variety of sherry as well. All right, two marks his work, perhaps. Form, norm, doom, loom. What else could that be? I'm going to pause and ponder my possibilities. I think it's poem. I think the writer is Poe, and I think Marx, maybe from the currency, obsolete now, can be abbreviated to M. And so his work, perhaps, of course, he wrote other things, but he did write poems, as we know. All right, that just leaves us these two in the bottom left. Loaded. Investor hasn't finished. Acquiring dodgy firm. Oh, yeah, so it must be an anagram of firm in the middle. Yeah, I'm thinking RIMFUL, brimful, maybe? Yeah, the investor is a bull who hasn't finished. And he's brimful. Again, I'm just worrying about the part of speech is loaded. Something is loaded to the brim, a brimful. I suppose it's close enough. All right, so shouldn't be too many. Like poor folk in book fair, initially ignored. Oh, yeah, I'm thinking maybe it's like poor folk, and then B is for book, and then a word for fair with its initial ignored. Yeah, so I think just is the word for fair, and you remove its initial, and poor folk are bust. I think that's it. I'm probably about 75% sure of that one. All right, let's check all. Did anything drop out? Not that I can see. All right, let's head over to 15 squared. All right, the blog today is by Eileen. She is very happy to get a Picaroon puzzle to blog. Oh, she talks about the mixed reaction to the Austin one yesterday. Uh, yes, and so Eileen, like myself, books I'm ashamed not to have read. So I've heard of The Idiot, Gambler. Yeah, I think I've heard of that. Crime and Punishment. Never heard of Poor Folk. I didn't even realize that was a novel. Or The Landlady. Much ingenuity and wit. Smooth, meaningful surfaces. Yeah, I would agree. It's a tour de force, and it's Eileen's anti-penultimate block of the year. I think that means third last, and also her 1000th. So congratulations to her. Has been doing this a long time. All right, the ones I didn't understand were all acrosses. Idiot, yeah, so silly is just the definition, okay. Doesn't really explain why New World is two continents, all right. Sable, yeah, so A can stand for R, all right. And then, brimful, yeah. So again, just, yeah, I think it was just the definitions or the synonyms from part of the clue I didn't quite get. Oh, The Landlady is also a spooky short story by Roald Dahl. Good to know. All right, hardest puzzle I've completed for months. I wouldn't say it was my hardest, but I would agree, totally fair. Uh, hadn't heard of Amoroso Sherry. I think I must have heard of it in the past because the word did come to me. Fabulous. A lot of congratulations to Eileen. Yeah. Anyway, I think people are generally happy with this. Enjoy this much more than yesterday. Poor Paul. And though there was nothing wrong with yesterday's crossword, just relied on too much Jane Austen knowledge that I think very few of us have. All right. Well, thank you as always for watching, and have a great day and a great weekend as we get ready for Christmas.